Okay, welcome to another edition of Buck What You Heard. It's Thursday, and here we are again. We are close to football. Folks, this time next week, we will be into football. So get excited. I know I'm excited. Michael Pless, my man, how you doing tonight?
Oh, I'm doing well. I mean, I'm just glad to be back talking football again, and finally we have practices coming up starting tomorrow. So the train is rolling, and I can't wait. I mean, this is gonna be fun.
Yeah, and as Jameis Winston said, we're taking this Thursday by storm, and that's pretty much what we're going to do. And Michael Pless, every week I appreciate you being on. You're that Bentley with the Lamborghini engine, man, just like I mentioned here, and I'm glad to have you. So, what have you been up to, man? Any exciting articles coming up here shortly?
Yeah, I actually have I got a few coming out probably later tonight. Just talking training camp as far as goals, concerns, um, camp and preseason. A lot of competition for sure. I think this is going to be one of the best training camps this team has had in a long time. I think it's going to be one of those camps that it just sets the season up the right way. There's going to be building blocks, and really, this is going to be the year where this team is always going to be in that hunt, contending for championships. I think that's the start. This is the start of that run. So it's very exciting.
I couldn't agree more. And you know what? Speaking of camp, we had the press conferences today, and that was really exciting for me. To me, that tells me, hey, football is finally here. We don't have to fill in with some other stuff, and we can actually get into actual Buccaneers football, which I've been waiting for since the last game of the season. So I'm just glad to be here. And of all the press conferences that you heard today, I know you heard all of them. Which one stood out the most to you?
Yeah, I mean, I would have to say, I mean, all of them stood out, but I would say the most is just Quan Alexander. His press conference really just his overall demeanor and how much passion he has for this game. He's just ready to get things going and get started. Genuine joy to be back with his teammates, and I mean the red hair. I mean that sticks out. I mean he's showing how much he loves his teammates and in this team, and he's ready to have a dominant season in my eyes. But also just talking about, he wasn't really talking about like expectations or making predictions, which was nice to see. It's just, hey, we need to come together and build and put the work in. I think that's refreshing to see. It's not about, hey, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. But what you can expect is we're going to give it everything each day, try to get better, and take this one day at a time.
Yeah, and again, that to kind of go along with what you're talking about, these guys are ready, and I really think that this season, and as you mentioned, with all the competition, I think we're going to see the best of the best on the field. We're not going to see a head coach's guy where he hands the keys to the car to a guy and say, "Hey, this is your position right here to lose." No, you're going to have guys that are out there competing, and the best guys are going to be out on the field. For me, it was Mike Evans. Mike Evans is somebody that I have really loved since he was drafted, and he had an off season, and people were jumping out the window about this guy. And he had a good season, over 1,000 yards receiving, but it wasn't what he could have done. And he knew that as well as we knew that. And the one thing about these Buccaneers, they're consummate professionals. They look at the game film just like, me and you look at game film. They look at it even more. They break it down to another level. I mean, if you've ever talked with a pro football person who does break down film, like a Steve White or Styles G. White or somebody like that you can talk to. I mean, I've talked to Michael Pittman on a few occasions just about game film and what you look for. What are you trying to see? And it pales in comparison to what I'm looking at. Me personally, I'm looking at schemes. I'm looking at assignments, and I'm looking at how the plays flow, and do they work as a unit, or do you see like chinks in the armor? So those are some of the things that I look at, and they look at it on a whole other level. So to me, just knowing that these guys know, hey, we can do better. And for Mike Evans to say, I can do better, and I can't give myself an A, I know there's more out there that I can do. That to me is exciting. For a wide receiver of his caliber to say, hey, I'm not even close to being good, that's what makes me exciting. And just like you said, these guys know they can do better, and that's what we should be, expecting from them, when the season starts.
Yeah, and even OJ Howard, I mean, just the way he was speaking today, I mean, there's just confidence. They're just speaking confidently. Each one of them today were just, saying, "Hey, we need to do this in order to be one of the better teams in this league." And it was all about execution. It wasn't about, there was just no nonsense, which I appreciate, and it was just a lot of, hey. It's time to go to work, and let's go do it now.
Yeah, absolutely. And there was I'm trying to think who else. The Deshaun Jackson story was kind of funny with him rolling up with Mike Evans. I thought that was kind of funny. Just there are so many things going on, and Hard Knocks is in effect. They're refilming everything. And it's going to give, as we mentioned before, that's going to give the rest of the NFL fan base a chance to see what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are all about. Somebody that, and I know you saw the interview today, and I maybe you want to touch on it or not, but Jameis Winston looks like he is ready to go as well. And he is going to be the engine that drives this Buccaneer car. How he goes is how the Buccaneers are going to go. So, I mean, would you agree with that statement?
Yeah, absolutely. And I thought it was very telling in how his teammates spoke of him today, especially Mike Evans, just saying he's the, great leader. We just love to play with him. He just brings the best out of everyone. And then you have OJ Howard, who said he's not just a true competitor, he's the ultimate competitor. And he expects you to be great because that's what he's striving to be. And then I also thought OJ Howard saying, he's going to make us better players, and that's what a great quarterback does. He makes people around him better, and he expects it. He has high expectations for his teammates, and his teammates expect high, greatness out of him. So I thought that was awesome to see. And then another point was, I need to take what the defense gives me. I thought that was very refreshing. Just to know he's learning.
Yeah, and I think with Jameis Winston and having more weapons, just what he was capable of doing with the limited weapons he had and the injuries and some of the other problems that he had, I was really excited. And just imagine this guy is continually improving. He's getting better. Here's another guy. He looks at game film on another level compared to what we do. So we know that he's looking at all of his mistakes, and he's a consummate professional too, where he's wanting to better himself. And we know this. I mean, you don't see him, on vacation for the whole off season. This guy is trying to hone his craft and get better at what he does. And to me, that's huge. When you lead by example, I mean, he's the face of the franchise, and he's leading by example. So all these other guys are like, man, well, maybe I need to look at more film. Maybe I need to conduct myself like he does, just so that, we are getting better. So again, leading by example is big, from your quarterback.
Yeah, and speaking of Hard Knocks, I think Jameis is really going to be able to show what he means to this team. I think it's going to be great for the national media just to see him on another level, and find a greater respect for what he does, especially on and off, the field, especially in the community. So, I mean, it's going to be a blessing, I think, we're going to really see what Jameis is all about, and it's going to be awesome for sure.
Yeah. And, the big thing, and I know we've all talked about it, or some people don't want to talk about it, but Tampa really has to watch the injuries. I mean, injuries are going to be very vital. I mean, you want your guys on the field throughout the season. And considering that we don't have a bye in week 6 or week 4 or where we normally have it, we don't have a bye or the Bucs will not have a bye until the back end of the season. It's going to be vital to have these guys healthy. And if God forbid there is an injury, the guys that have been picked to come in and replace them need to be able to come in and make a difference. So that's going to be big too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, health. I mean, they put Jacque Smith on the PUP list, and I was telling Mark the other day, my friend who also is a co-owner of Real Bucs Talk. I was telling him the other day, I was like, I don't care if they play Jack Smith at all during the preseason. I was like, as long as he's ready for week 1 against Miami, I mean, that's fine by me. There's really no need to risk injury. Wait till that guy's 100% and ready to go. But yeah, injuries, I mean, just avoiding those, especially the soft tissue injuries, whether it's hamstrings or groins and all of those kinds, we need to avoid those. It seems like the last couple of years we've been having trouble with that. So that's something that we need to make sure we're taking care of our bodies, making sure we're doing the proper stretching.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're absolutely right.
And think about this too. If Jacque Smith does not start the season, I'm not too worried about it, because that's somebody I would rather have on the back end of the season with those rough 6 games after the bye that we have to deal that the Buccaneers have to deal with. It would be better to have him healthy for that than to have him out on the field in the first part of the season. So some of these guys, Doug Martin, another person, I'm perfectly okay with him coming in after a 3-game suspension, and his legs are fresh and he's healthy and he can come in and make plays. So, I know a lot of people, they want him to start first game of the season, but you have to look at how this season plays out and the level of competition that Tampa's going to have to deal with on the back end of the season. It's not going to be a cakewalk. And these division rivals, you can't sit here and tell me that you're going to sweep all these division rivals. I mean, you have to be ready. And the more personnel you have to help you do that, the better off you are.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, it's just about avoiding those key injuries. I mean, we just, you have certain players that we just can't afford to have be injured. I mean, you look at, Brent Grimes, Quan Alexander, Gerald McCoy, basically all our key players, Mike Evans, Jameis Winston. We just can't afford, injuries to those guys. Those guys have to be healthy. So again, hopefully we don't put ourselves in bad situations where we're subject to injury, and we can get out of this preseason with good work, taking place, and head into Miami, with everybody available. Again, there's going to be injuries, but you hope that it's at positions where you have the most depth at.
Yeah. And another thing that, we can look at, some of these guys that are going to be replacing some of these key players in the running game, on the defensive line, and in other places, this is good experience for them going into the back end of the season as well. They know what's expected of them as they're going into these games, and you have familiarity with the playbook, and getting these reps are very beneficial, because there may be a time they may be called upon to do something. So these guys that normally don't get to start or don't get a lot of reps, they need to take full advantage of this, just like Anger did last year in the kicking game, took full advantage. Keith Tandy, another guy, took full advantage of the opportunity that was given to him, and he made the most of it. So those are players that I really hope to see. They're taking advantage of these chances because I'm sure at some point in time they'll be called upon to come in and do something.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're not going to be 100% healthy all year. I mean, there's going to be injuries. So the good thing is there wasn't a lot of roster turnover this offseason. So you have a lot of guys that are familiar with the schemes. You have a lot of guys that have played before. But with the new additions that we have made, those guys are getting pushed to the bench, becoming backups, becoming more of a role player type. So it just makes your depth better. But yeah, I mean, guys are going to have to step up. And the good thing is this coaching staff is probably one of the better coaching staffs we've had in a long time. And they do a great job of making sure these guys are prepared every week. So that's critical. But again, this team needs to get off to a fast start this season. We just can't afford 1-4 starts anymore. We have to find a way to get, 2-2, 3-2, to start the season. So that's critical. So the main thing is hopefully going into Miami, we can be, for the most part, healthy. That would be nice.
Yeah, and keep in mind, this is the NFC South, probably one of the most competitive divisions in all the NFL. And you have to bring your A game. You have to bring it. And, I know a lot of people think, oh, we're going to sweep this team. We're going to sweep this team. Again, the NFC South is tough. And the NFC has been represented the last 2 years by an NFC South team. They both lost, but they still represented the NFC, for the NFC South did. So that says a lot about this division and, what's going on. And there are a lot of teams that have made vast improvements on what they had last year. So this won't be a cakewalk, by any means, but these are all winnable games. And, I'm going to say it, even the Patriots game, I believe that this team has the personnel to where they could, compete with anybody in the NFL. I just don't see a team that would just come in and run over the Bucs. I think if the Bucs lose a game is because they beat themselves. Example, the Dallas Cowboys game last year. The Dallas Cowboys game, Tampa should have won that game. They beat themselves, costly penalties and just inopportune penalties and turnovers really hurt this team. So, not taking anything away from the other teams, but I really believe that Tampa, they have some quality players and they have quality coaching, and there's just no reason for them to lose to certain teams.
Yeah, and Mike Evans mentioned that today. He's like, yeah, we got to stop beating ourselves. There was too many times we had, like you said, penalties or turnovers. So I think the mindset is there. They know what they have to, get better at, and that's very important. I'm glad this coaching staff has made it a priority to tell these guys to look themselves in the mirror. And, this is what we have to get better at in order to move this team forward into, a Super Bowl contender or a playoff contender, every year. So, I mean, that's critical.
Yeah, absolutely. And the one thing, and I know it sounds like a cliche, but the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are learning how to win. I looked at this defense last year, and if you look at the defense last year and some of the defenses that we've seen here in Tampa over the past 7 years, maybe 8, I would have to say that, there were games last season that you would have thought, oh man, we're going to lose this game just because of the situational football. But the defense did what the defense held. The offense did what they needed to do, and they won some games that, I would have, if this had been any other time in my lifetime, I would have been like, oh man, they're going to lose this game just because of the history and the way they played. But you can see where these guys are coming together as a family, as a team, however they perceive it, and they are actually winning games. So learning how to win is going to be huge. B. Loggins made a great point. The Chargers game. That Chargers game was big, and hats off to the Buckaholics and all the Buccaneers fans that traveled to that game and made it almost like a home game because they were as loud as everybody else. But that's key. We saw that with Kansas City. We saw it with the Seattle Seahawks. These were games where the defense came in and they weren't the liability. So if there's anybody to take that next step, it could be the defense and getting better. I mean, you bring in a Chris Baker, and you've automatically improved that front line. So they are moving in the right direction, and if everybody can gel, that's what you're going to see is vast improvement.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's lesser questions on defense, just because they have everybody coming back. They have the
Right.
same defensive system. I mean, getting Mike Smith back was huge this offseason. I think that's the biggest move of the offseason, having
Yeah.
Mike Smith come back.
Biggest signing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, he's well worth the raise, and I hope they can find a way to keep him, as long as possible. I mean, the guy's just a great coach. So I mean that's awesome. But yeah, I think the defense is going to be just fine. Now I think their only question mark is in that secondary. Is like, who's gonna take that safety spot, who's gonna be the permanent starters there, and who's gonna battle for that nickel spot. So I mean those two are the highlight competitions for the defense. I think the Sam linebacker is that's going to figure itself on its own. I think Devontae Bond's going to step up and take that. But yeah, I mean that's probably the only question mark I have on the defense. But I
it's
expect
interesting
them,
that you're talking about the safety position. I like Keith Tandy. I think Keith Tandy did good. Chris Conte was hit and miss. I know a lot of people really hate him, but I thought he did better towards the back end of the season. I thought he was coming along. But if your front four, or however you have that front line getting pressure on the quarterback, if they're pressuring on the quarterback, it's going to make the back end so much. It's going to make their job a lot easier. They're still going to have to do the job, but it's going to make their job a lot easier being able to cover, because they're not going to have to cover as long. And I think that's going to be the telling part of the defense, if that front line can get pressure on the quarterback.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, the defensive line is probably one of the strongest units on this team as far as a depth standpoint. They have a lot of pieces going there for them. Just that starting front four is very strong, and then your backups are probably close, just as good. I mean, they're really strong 8 up front, which is really impressive. The overall front 7 is really good as well, just because of your linebacking crew, who I think is one of the best linebacker crews in the league. So, I mean, they're gonna have to be really good this year, because we face a lot of tough quarterbacks this year. So,
absolutely. You talk about Aaron Rodgers and Eli Manning, and of course Tom Brady, and then you have to deal.
Your division. I mean, your division is loaded. So, So I mean, they got to be on point this year, and I expect them to, as long as they're healthy. Again, it all goes back to health. But they have the pieces in place to get after the quarterback, and it's going to make that safety position a lot easier, and the corners for that matter. So yeah.
Yeah, so that was, I understand where people are coming from based on what they saw last season, but when you had Keith Tandy again, who I mentioned, and I can't stop mentioning him because he got a chance, he got these reps, he got a chance to go in and steal that starting position, and that's what he did. He made the most of his opportunities, and I'm just glad that the head coach is one of those people who's like, you're going to compete, and the best player will be on the field. That's if he maintains that mindset throughout his tenure with the Tampa Bay Bucks, he'll be here for a long time, because you're putting the best players on the field. You're not putting your guy on the field. You're putting the best players on the field, and that's a huge difference. And I think that's what really hurt Lovie Smith, was not having that competition.
Yeah, and you know what I like? I mean, I've given a lot of hate. I mean, me and Mark have given a lot of hate towards, Justin Evans, the second round pick. But I would be probably the happiest man if he found a way to take that job. If he found a way to just play out of his mind and earn the position, that would just make this team that much better. I mean,
Absolutely.
coming in and that would make him better and make his teammates better. So I would love if, if Justin Evans or JJ Wilcox, came in and just took over and took that spot, whether it's Keith Tandy's spot or Chris Conte. That would be awesome. Awesome to see. And that's what's great about this training camp, because you're going to have guys that are going to get cut, and they should be on NFL rosters. So, I mean,
Right.
that's a good thing to see.
Yeah, most definitely. I can remember a time with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers where you look down the roster and you're like, well, can't get rid of him. Kind of need him. And yeah, I guess I don't really have an opinion on him. But now you have so much talent and you have such a rotation in so many places. And to be honest, I think Rendeck said this a couple of weeks ago, that what Jason Light has done in such a short period of time to turn around this roster is a testament to what kind of general manager he really is. Because if you looked at what we had, I mean, geez, I mean, we probably could have gone to Labor Ready and got some guys and put some competition on the field too. But what he's been able to do and getting rid of players and bringing players in when you make mistakes, he doesn't stick with that guy. He gets rid of them and gets somebody else in to do it. I mean, he's not afraid to make mistakes or take chances. And that to me is really exciting.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the move they made today. I mean, they had to let go of Evan Panfield, which is unfortunate. I was excited to see him, see what he could do, but unfortunately, he got injured. They had to waive him, but they go out and pick up Justin Trato. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but he's been on the Vikings the last over the last 4 years. But what he does is he contributes on special teams. I mean, the guy's a good special teams player, good run defender. So, I mean, you're upgrading your team right there, which is awesome to see.
Yeah. And isn't it cool that we can say that throughout the years since Jason Light has been here, he's continually upgrading. He's not making lateral moves. I might say like the JJ Wilcox, because of necessity, that may be a lateral move. But I have to wait and see what he does in preseason and how he fits on this team before I can, make a final judgment. But based on what he did in Dallas, if you look at his statistics compared to Bradley McDougall's, they're pretty similar. But statistics don't tell the whole story. So, I just want to give him a chance to see what he does here on the team and if he can come in and be a difference maker.
Yeah, and I talked about this. This was probably like after the draft. When I was criticizing the Evans draft pick and the Kendall Beckwith.
The Beckwith was the one that got me, but
But again, what I said, it was, we don't know what these guys are going to do in this defensive scheme. We don't know how this is going to, fit their skill sets. Again, the scheme could make them better players, which you found in like a Keith Tandy, you found in a Brent Grimes. I mean, Brent Grimes plays amazing in this scheme. He played awesome in Atlanta, and he continued that here in Tampa Bay. So that's what Mike Smith does. He finds ways to bring out the strengths in his players. So it wouldn't be shocking to me if Evans or Beckwith come out and they ball out, because their skill set is going to fit this scheme much better than maybe LSU or Texas A&M did.
Yeah. But and folks, again, I'm serious. I will be the first one to say I was dead ass wrong if Beckwith goes out there and balls out and has an incredible season. I just looked at his game film and I looked at some of the behaviors I saw in the game film, and it just struck me as odd that they would make that move that high. But those guys do this for a living and I don't. So you got to keep that in mind. You got to take what I say with a grain of salt most of the time.
So what Gene is basically saying, don't listen to us.
You can listen to us, but don't listen to us.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So anything else big that that happened this week that you kind of want to touch on?
I mean, I'm just excited to see what what this offense is gonna look like, how Cutter is gonna design plays, and what the formations are gonna look like with the new pieces in place. How is he gonna balance this offense as far as who's gonna be getting the ball in key situations, who's gonna but again, we won't find that out until we go up against Miami. A lot of the offense is going to be vanilla in preseason, so it's going to be kind of boring. But it's going to be interesting to see, what kind of personnel groupings we put out there, and that's what I'm excited about for practice. Go out and see what they're putting out there on the field. So that has me amped up. I'll be out there Sunday, so yeah, I can't wait.
But, I will be picking your brain next Thursday. Trust me.
Yeah, I'm going to be trying to take as good as notes as possible and making sure I catch everything for sure. But yeah, I mean, it's just good to have that football feeling back in the air. And another thing, I feel bad for other teams already because they've already had injuries. You look at the Ravens. I mean, already losing their backfield. Yeah, I mean that's just tough. I think Miami, they lost. What's the guy's name? Kosi Misi, the linebacker.
Yeah,
he's out for the year. I mean, that's tough right there.
Yeah, and I don't wish that on anybody. Seriously, if you've played football or anything about football, I don't wish injury on anybody. But it's sad to see that. I know it's part of the game, but it's sad to see that because you can't really tell what a team would have been capable of doing. Losing those players. And I know it's next man up, but it's just not the same with the next man as you could have had with the first man. Right.
And those are key players too. I mean, Joe Flacco and they were expecting big things out of Dixon, the running back. So, that's just a tough blow right before the season. And then, I thought, and then the funny thing was with the Cowboys and the whole
those idiots.
The Lucky Whitehead situation, and the poor guy now he has to go to the worst team in the NFL. Probably
He's with the Jets.
Yeah, so
I'd put a UN on the front of my name if that was the case.
not too lucky in his case. So
not at all, man. And it makes me wonder if they were just going to get rid of him anyway. Right. Just the way I don't know if they're trying to save face or if they genuinely were going to get rid of him anyway. But just the way that they handled that whole situation was really messed up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, got to make sure you have the facts, before.
Yeah, and what kills me is these teams all have investigators, and they can get this information if they genuinely want it. Mm-hmm. So again, I was hoping he would have went to the Eagles or somebody and stuck it to Dallas the next that season. But unfortunately, that didn't happen.
Right.
So let's see. We're at 7:34. I know there were some things that we were talking about the offensive line a little bit. I think we touched on pretty much everything we needed to on the offensive line. Again, folks, if you get a chance to go to camp, please go to camp and just see what the Bucs are doing and. Look at some of these camp battles. Chris Godwin is another guy that I cannot wait to see him. I keep hearing big things about him. Mike Evans was talking about him in an interview. And so he's another one of those guys that I can't wait to see what he's able to do. And there again is another example of an upgrade in the wide receiver position. The Buccaneers lose a Russell Shepard to the Carolina Panthers. And then they drafted Chris Godwin, who, for all intents and purposes, everything that I've been hearing about him, he was the steal of that round. So, hey, I Jason Light really has been on the ball, picking up these players. So, I can't, you can't knock him for that. Mm-hmm. With the O.J. Howard interview, I wanted to kind of circle back to that. He's somebody I still. Because he was so high up, we expected him to be drafted so high up. I really haven't looked at a lot of his game film. I probably should here, between now and tomorrow. Camp starting. What are your thoughts on him? How do you think that I know Cameron Brate, and guys, Cameron Brate's going to get the lion's share of the tight end balls as they come because of his connection with Jameis Winston, and I think that's gonna always be there. I think that OJ Howard will be the added bonus in this. I don't see him taking Cameron's position. I think they'll both get equal playing time, but I think the comfort level that Jameis has with Cameron Brate will make it so that that's the guy it's going to be his go-to guy, his security blanket.
Yeah, I think you said it best when you say bonus. I mean, I think OJ Howard was a luxury pick, and he's going to be a luxury to this offense. I think what they can do is just kind of let OJ, go at his own pace, bring him along as fast or as slow as he needs. Don't really have to rush him into things because of a Cameron Brate, and you also have a Luke Stalker who can do the blocking if necessary. So. Again, fans, I mean, they're going to be running 2 tight end sets, and you're going to have Howard and Brate out there. So, I mean, it's going to be a deadly combination. Again, it's going to depend on how fast, OJ Howard can, adjust himself to the speed of the game, because it's way different in the NFL than SEC. So, it just depends on how fast he comes along. But everything I'm seeing, I mean, he's going to be ready. I mean, the kid is built like a man beast. A good 6'6", 260 that can run a 4.5
and what's so scary is he was underutilized at Alabama.
Yeah. The only time he was utilized correctly was probably in the national championship games. When they used him, in the slot, and they allowed him to create mismatches against linebackers and safeties. And you don't have many tight ends that can just stretch the field like he can, where he can get behind a linebacker, get in front of a safety, make a big catch. And he's an explosive play waiting to happen on every time he touches the ball. He's got some wiggle to him where he can make guys miss, break tackles. So the guy's a complete package. Again, it just depends on how fast he can adjust to the game, and how quickly it comes to him. He's still got to learn this offense. So, I mean, it's going to take some time. So I don't expect him. But, as the season progresses, I think you're going to see more of him become a big piece.
Yeah, most definitely. And you couldn't ask for a better quarterback than Jameis Winston, somebody who's, he's a student of the game. And I think that he'll be able to eventually build that connection with OJ Howard. It's just going to take time. But, as of right now, Cameron Brate is his guy. And, another guy that, keeps getting, you don't mention his name enough, is Adam Humphries. You will see Adam Humphries in this offense. Trust me.
Yeah, same thing with Humphries. I mean, he's just continuing to get better. And a lot of people forget Humphries is only 24 years old, so he's right in the mix with this young core that we have on offense. Undrafted tryout player, comes out and just busts his butt every day. He makes this team, always does the right play, never really out of position. So he's just really consistent, and he's reliable for Jameis, and that's why him and Cameron Brate are so utilized well for Jameis, because they have guys that Jameis can go to consistently, and you just got to have that as a quarterback.
Yeah, and when you consider when Vincent Jackson went down in consecutive years, Adam Humphries got valuable playing time that really, kind of kept him on schedule to improve as he goes along. So when you have a Deshaun Jackson, now he can play in that third wide receiver position, and he's gonna excel, I believe. Just based on the experience that he's had, I think that's going to be an ideal position for him.
Yeah, I have a question. You think they put? You think they'll use Deshaun at any point this season, like at punt returner, or don't see it happening?
I wouldn't. I don't know. Based on based on the Buccaneers' experience with that second wide receiver, when a second wide receiver goes down, it's a huge drop off to the third wide receiver. So I would be shocked if they did. Anything's possible, but just at this stage, when you're wanting to win now, you're wanting to keep your number two healthy. I probably wouldn't use him in that capacity.
Yeah, I don't expect it either. I mean, I had some friends brought it up and, talking about, certain game situations maybe, but I just don't see it as a possibility. We definitely need that guy on the field. But I mean, that position itself, the whole kick returner, punt returner, I mean, that is like the biggest mystery of this team right now. I mean, who's going to be that guy? I have no idea.
And it's funny, along with drafting a starting quarterback, Tampa is very, very, they've been very unfortunate trying to find a punt returner, kick returner, either one. I mean, let's see, Michael Spurlock, and who was the other?
Right, Clifton Smith was probably the other one.
Clifton Smith was the other guy. But other than that, I mean, they just haven't been able to do it. They brought in some guy from Appalachian State, Mike Williams. Is it Mike Williams?
No, Dexter Jackson.
Dexter Jackson. That's who it was.
Yeah.
And that was a nightmare right there. I mean, they just rolled the dice on that one and they lost.
Mm-hmm.
But that's I don't know how that would work out. I mean, is Huff still in the mix to do that, or what are we?
I don't know. I mean, I think that's going to be the key for that fifth receiver spot. I think it's going to come down to whoever can be that special teams ace, but also can, be a reliable receiver as well. So, I mean, that's definitely what that spot's going to come down to in my mind. That's why I don't see like a Darrell Walker, making the team just because of his. I'm not sure if he can do that special teams and be a decent receiver as well. So if he can, I mean, he's got a better chance of making this team. But you look at the guys like a Bobo Wilson out of FSU, or
is he still on? Is he still on a team? I haven't seen him on the roster.
He's still on the roster. I mean, he's got that, the quicks to him. He's got that ability to make people miss. He has experience as a returner. So I would say him, Ryan Smith, I think is going to get another shot at returning. I think, Josh Huff is definitely going to be in the mix. Trying to think of other guys. Maybe a Dante Dye. I mean, I know Dante Dye has done in the past. He's looked okay at it as far as kickoff return, but I think they want to find a guy that can do both. Again, I thought Humphreys did okay as a punt returner, but I think they want to add some more juice back there as far as overall spark, and because that's really critical. Field position is everything in this game.
Yeah.
If you have a guy that can change the field, it just helps your offense that much more, helps you control the game.
Yeah, and that's very important right there. Is making sure that you're able to have that. It makes I don't know, it just kind of takes away from the game. And I kind of alluded to this earlier when we were talking. If you look at what Tampa did kicking the ball with Brian Anger, he did amazing. But on the flip side, it was average or a little less than average how the kick returners were doing. And so it's something that has to be fixed because field position can change games. And Tampa has seen that on the bad end of it, where Jameis has a turnover on the short end of the field and the defense has to defend and they give up points. If we can get if you get a returner who can get you decent field position, Jameis can work with that and get it down the field.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of times last season we had opportunities where, or we had situations where the defense would get a stop. The opposing team would like punt it from like the 45, and we would get the ball, end up getting the ball, inside the 10 or whatever, instead of having a big return. That can change the game if you can start your your drive on the 25 or 30-yard line. I mean, that's huge.
Yeah.
And if you can do even better than that, like 35 or 40, I mean, it just improves your chances of scoring that much more. So it's just critical to have that consistency with the return position.
Yeah. So there's another position battle that fans should be looking at alongside of safety and the fourth and fifth receiver. I don't know. Are they going to go with a fifth receiver? Yeah, I guess they probably will.
Yeah, I mean they're going to keep 5. I mean the question is, do they keep 6 receivers? I mean that's the question. Do they go with 6? But I think for the most part, the last couple of years they've been going with 5 receivers. So I think that's going to continue. But yeah, I mean there's so many position battles. I mean the running backs, you have great depth at corner that's going to be tested. The safeties, linebacker position on the Sam side. You know, defensive line rotation, how's that going to shape out? I mean, it's very interesting. The offensive line, how's that going to come together? So there's just a lot of battles that are going to be taking place that are going to be really very interesting.
Yeah, the kick, and last but not least, that kicking game. It should
be, kicker. Yeah, kicker position. Yeah, that's probably the biggest battle of it all. I mean,
so I don't know. I'm glad that they picked up who they did. I thought that that works towards Aguayo. We're going to see if he's able to handle the pressure or what happens. But either way, it's going to be beneficial for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers either way. So I'm really excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
So here we are. We've got maybe 12 minutes left. I'm going to start going through the chat, and I'm going to hit you with some questions from the chat. And guys, thanks so much for everybody, everybody's input. And I'm just going to kind of go down these and try to get through these. Brandon Fuller was saying, which running back do you think Tampa will have to make the choice of letting go if as you're looking at, that roster?
I'm sorry, repeat that.
Which running back do you think Tampa will get rid of, when it comes down to it? I mean, as you're looking at the roster right now.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I think definitely going into the season, they're going to keep 4 running backs. I think you're going to start the year off with, your Rodgers, Charles Sims, McNichols, and Peyton Barber. Now, once Doug Martin comes back, they're going to have to make a decision. Now, I think there is potential. I'm not saying this is going to happen, but I think there is potential that they could try to trade a Charles Sims since he is in contract year. Now, again, that depending on how fast McNichols can step up his game and if he can become that comfortable change of pace third down back. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen, nor do I want it to happen because I like what Charles Sims brings to this offense.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I think Barber, even though the Bucs really like Barber, they're high on him. I think he's got the option of being that guy let go and potentially put on a practice squad.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I love Charles Sims. I love the move. I mean, people were jumping out of the window when he was drafted. I was one of the few people that said this guy can catch the ball out of the backfield. And just watching him, he's always one arm tackle away from taking it to the house. So he has that ability, that big play ability. Just have to get out there and get him out there, and compete and make sure he can do that. Let's see. So excited for camp. We probably talked about it a lot. Who do you think starts at safeties and kicker? Oh, so we kind of touched on that a little bit, and so we did get that.
I mean, I can tell you, I think it's going to win the kicker job. I think it's going to be Folk just because the veteran presence and this team, is destined to win this season. I think they need to have that reliable kicking back there. You don't want to go into the season, worrying about your kicker.
Yeah.
And you don't have situations where, I don't know if he's going to make this one. That puts a lot of stress on your team and you just don't need that. So I think that's why they'll go with Folk. As far as the safeties, I really can't say right now. I mean, it's going to be a battle. That's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you there. I was pretty much thinking the same thing. Nick Folk has been steady. We saw that in OTAs. We saw that in minicamp. He's just been steady. He just keeps plugging along. And when you're so inconsistent as Roberto Aguayo has been, I feel bad because it's a second round pick or third round pick, however you want to look at it. It's, I don't consider it a wasted pick. I consider it was a need that Tampa had. Tampa hasn't really had a solid person since Matt Bryan, who is still kicking balls in Atlanta. But, you want to try to address that and get that off the table so you're not having to worry about it anymore. So I totally understand what Jason was trying to do in, going after this kicker. So I didn't have a problem with it. Unfortunately, here we are, and it would be awesome if he turned it around and, he became that rock solid kicker. But, I just, I would rather, I don't, that's something that as a fan, you don't want to worry about. Fourth quarter, 30 seconds left, and you're bringing this guy out to kick the game winning field goal. I would rather see Folk out there than I would Roberto Aguayo.
Yep.
But that's just me. All right. B. Loggins. What do you think about the Jacquez Smith situation? And honestly, I love the guy. And as I mentioned this earlier in the podcast, I'm good with him being set out. I don't want him to come back prematurely and get injured. And I would rather have him healthy for the back end of the season. As I mentioned before, what is it, week 11 is when Tampa has the bye?
Yeah.
That's a long time in NFL talk. It's a real long time. So having a guy sit out for the first couple of games, it doesn't bother me. I would rather see him 100% before, we start getting into the heavier games on like I mentioned, the back end of the season. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I completely agree. I think, Jack Smith was put on the PUP, but again, this is the active list, so he can come back at any time. It's just a precautionary. I think they're just making sure that that knee is 100% and ready to go. Again, ACLs are very tricky, and you don't want to rush that because, that's usually a long injury. I mean, you don't fully recover from that injury usually till about a year. So he's probably past a year now, but you just want to make sure he's at his best because when he's one of the better pass rushers in this league. He has all the tools to be a great pass rusher. His problem is just staying on the field. So if he can find a way to stay on the field and be that guy to help us out getting after quarterbacks, I mean, that's what you want. And I think the Bucs are taking the right steps in that direction.
Yeah. Case in point, Darrelle Revis coming to Tampa, he wasn't 100%. He was nowhere near 100% when he came to Tampa, and I think he was still recovering. I don't think he was ever really the same after that knee injury. But when he came back,
16 million makes you want to get out there. So
yeah, most definitely. But at the end of the day, you want the best product on the field, and I would not have a problem with Jack Smith sitting out, until, we know, or the staff knows he's 100% before they bring him on. So
right.
I don't have a problem with that. I don't see any issues doing that. All right. Let's see. Amazement. I like what Evans said too. He needed to work on getting, Mike Evans was talking at the press conference. He said he needed to work on getting those yards after carry. And with the new weapons, I think he will. The field will open up for Evans. Yeah, we've both been looking at game film. You've looked at it, and I've been watching how they were scheming for Mike Evans. And they, as I mentioned this before, I mentioned this so many times I sound like a broken record. DCs cannot scheme the Tampa Bay Buccaneers like they did last year. Right. Throw that book out of the window. You're going to have to come up with a new game plan because it's not going to work this year, considering the weapons that they have. And, I think that Mike Evans will improve. I think he's learning the nuances of the game. I watched him against the Saints. I watched him against the Seattle Seahawks. and I watched him against the Kansas City Chiefs, and he's making moves that he would have gotten flagged for his rookie season, but he's finding the nuances of being a wide receiver. So he's a little bit smoother with what he does. He's a little bit more fluent. And, you know, when he pushes off or grabs or whatever he does, it doesn't look as obvious as what it did his rookie season. So again, in the grand scheme of things, this guy started playing football his senior year. I think he only played 2 years at A&M. And then you consider his pro career, he hasn't been playing football that long, organized football that long compared to some of these other guys who go all the way back to Pop Warner, you know? So I think what he's been able to do in the period of time that he's done it is scary. And at his age, it's really scary considering that he can get just that much better.
Yeah, I mean, the guy is still learning the game, like you said. I mean, he continues to make improvements each year, and I think, you know, the fans are right. I think he's going to get more, you know, more single coverage opportunities, which is going to allow him to get more yak yards, yards after the catch. He's going to be able to create more separation. And like you said, I mean, defenses aren't going to be able to scheme us like they did last year. I mean, it's not going to be possible. They can try and press us, but it's not going to work because you have 2 tight ends that can stretch the field and beat those single one matchups. And then also you have your running backs that can catch the ball out of the backfield. You have Adam Humphries. So you're just not going to be able to clamp down on Mike Evans anymore like they did last year. I mean, it's just not possible.
And in considering the two tight end set, that's really scary. I mean, you'll have a linebacker. I mean, you maybe a linebacker or a safety. I mean, you're still kind of at the mercy of the play caller, because this could turn into a run. This could turn into you know, a play action. There's a lot of different things that can happen with the number of weapons that Tampa has. So you would have to think twice if you decide to double down and do something like that. So,
yeah. I mean, the biggest thing to sum it up is the offense is now going to be able to dictate what they want to do. That's the biggest difference. The defense won't be able to dictate what our offense does. The offense is going to be in full control of what they're doing this season, which is going to be very exciting to see.
Yeah,
and we've never had that. We haven't had that as an offense.
Not at all. What was the closest we had was Les Steckel had Sean King, and I think they were moving the ball quite a bit.
Keyshawn Johnson and that crew.
Yeah. So they were doing some things, you know, and again, you know, I'm just excited with all the talent that's on this team. This team could really do some big things. I'm going to go into the next question as we're getting close to time here. What undrafted free agent do you guys think will make a big impression and make the roster? I'm going with the tight end, Anthony Leclerc.
Yeah, that's a good pick. I'm trying to think of other guys that I like. I'm trying to think here. Let me see. Nothing's popping to my head.
As you're thinking about this, have you ever gotten to actually watch Leclerc? I personally have not.
I've seen pieces of him. I mean, the guy just his size, his overall size is very impressive, and then just his ability to block and make catches. I mean, he's very he's polished for playing, you know, where he's coming from. So yeah, he would be the guy to stand out for me. I mean, other guys that I want to say, I mean, some of the defensive linemen, I can't think of their names right now, but some of those guys stood out to me. The linebackers, Riley Bullock, I think is his last name. It's a guy to look out for. And then probably the offensive lineman. I really like Cole Gardner out of, I think he's out of Louisville.
Yeah.
So he's impressive to me. So I think that'd be a guy to look for.
All right. B Loggins says, I worry about the depth at cornerback and O line. Do you guys share that sentiment at all? Again, and I don't mean to sound vague, but I really would like to see what the defensive line does, because if they were getting pressure on the quarterback, it's going to alleviate pressure on the back end of the defense, that being your linebackers, safeties, and cornerbacks. I think that it will help, and the secondary won't look like it did where they were not getting any pressure at all.
Yeah, I mean, to answer the question, I mean, I think offensive line, I do have concerns as far as the tackle depth. I think their interior line is pretty much set. I think that's where their strength lies. They have a lot of depth there as far as experience and overall quality players. Then as far as the corners, I think the corners are going to be just fine. Again, you have a lot of question marks as far as, Ryan Smith, if he has to come in and replace a Brent Grimes or Vernon Hargraves, is he going to be ready to step in right away and be productive? Again, he hasn't played a snap in NFL as far as on the field. He's played well on special teams, but hasn't been in the field as far as the system goes. So that's a question mark. I think the nickelback position is going to be very strong. I really like Javian Elliott. I like what Jude Al-Jabarima has done. He looks really good this offseason. So, and then you also have Robert McClain, who they brought in, who can also play outside corner. So, I mean, I think it's going to be okay, but I understand where the concerns come from, just because you don't have a lot of consistency, or I would say answered players, like as far as least question marks. So
yeah,
if that makes sense.
Yeah, to me it makes perfect sense. I understand what you're saying. Let's see here. I'm gonna try to get through here. I know it's getting late for you. B Loggins, I'm very excited about Beckwith post draft, but he seems to be more suited for Mike than Sam linebacker. But I can see him in a lot of 3-4 packages next to Quan in the middle. That's interesting. They're not running a lot of 3-4 this year, are they?
I think you're going to see some of it, but again, it's not going to be our base defense. Again, we're going to be running a 4-3 attack, style defense. But yeah, you could see some 3-4. I think that's a reason why Jack Smith and Noah Spence are more leaner this offseason. They're going to play some outside linebacker where they're out on the edges. Just to create more mismatches. That's what it's about, creating those mismatches. But, back to Beckwith, I don't see him fitting as a middle linebacker. I think he's going to do just fine as a Sam, because I really liked him when he played near the line of scrimmage, and when he played on the edge, he was actually pretty good. He wasn't bad.
The 2015 season was where he really looked polished.
Yeah.
Compared to the next season.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they played him more on the edge that season. He was more up against the tight end or the defensive end, and I thought he did okay. I thought he did, pretty well. So, again, when he's close to the line of scrimmage and he can play aggressive, which he's going to do in this defense, he actually does. He does not bad. So, again, he's going to be coached up, and I'm not worried about it. I think Devontae Bond, like I said, I think he's going to take that spot. I'm really high on him. But it's going to be an interesting battle. And if, again, like I said with Justin Evans, if Beckwith can take that spot, it's just going to make the team better. So that's all you can ask for.
Yeah, absolutely. And the one thing that we talk about, and everything that we've talked about when it comes to Evans and Beckwith both, everything is coachable. This has nothing to do with physical tools at all. It's from the neck up, and how much do you retain, and can you make that translate onto the field? So it's not that these guys can't do it. It's just that they're based on their behavior, looking at game film, they haven't done it.
Right.
All right.
Exactly.
So we'll try to run through here. This is I'm gonna miss Vjak's presence in the locker room. He's a great guy. Yeah, I agree with that. I'm thinking number 5 wide receiver will be between Dye and Huff.
It's interesting.
So you've got Mike Evans, you've got Deshaun Jackson, then you've got Adam Humphries. Then you have Godwin. And who else would you see that's actually would make a, because last season, and I mean I can only go by last season, there were, I'm sure I mentioned this before, there was Mike Evans, then you had VJax, this was before he was hurt, then you had Adam Humphries, that was all set. And then everybody else was like, nobody could distance themselves from anybody else. So you had this big cluster of wide receivers. Nobody was like standing out above anybody else. So I think that's kind of what you see again here, is that nobody's particularly standing out. So you almost have to wait till camp to see what these guys are going to do against one another and against, live bullets in preseason. That's when you'll know who your wide receivers are going to be. Because as you say, Mike, the roster is fluid all the way up until we get ready to kick off, against Miami. This roster is fluid, so we don't know 100% who's going to be where.
Yeah, exactly. And let's not forget, I mean, Jason Light can go out and pick someone else, pick someone off waivers from another team, when cuts occur. So, I mean, he's always looking to upgrade, and it wouldn't surprise me if he went out and found a guy that can return and play that fifth receiver spot if they're not happy with what they're seeing. So, and there's going to be some good receivers let go this offseason, because there's a lot of teams that have added to those corps, and there's going to be depth available as far as guys getting cut. So it wouldn't surprise me if we pick somebody up from another team to replace what we currently have.
All right. And I have to say this. Let me find this. Swaggy T said the Atlanta Falcons blew a 25-point lead. I had to put that out there. I'm sorry. I'm not going to let this go until the next Super Bowl. Yeah. We talk facts on football here, and I just had to put that out there. 25-point lead blown, winning overtime, and the rest is history. So just thought I'd put that out there.
That's gonna be interesting to see if they can get over that. So I mean,
and then they're hearing it everywhere. So I'm sure they will. As much as I hate Atlanta is like probably the most hated, for me, the most hated division rival we have, Atlanta. But their coach, their head coach, he's a hell of a coach. I'm gonna be honest with you. And unfortunately, he came there. I wish he would have gone like to Houston or somewhere like that. But he's a good coach. And Amazement 717. I have to hit you with this one here. Can you guys see Jameis getting MVP this year if he breaks out? Who on this team has the chance for any big NFL honors if we have a big year? Maybe Quan, Dirk for Coach of the Year, or Dirk for Coach of the Year. I think what Dirk Cutter's done is, when we look back on his body of work, the way that him and he worked with the general manager and the way they've turned this roster around, you have to take your hats off to them. What they've done so far is very impressive.
Yeah, I mean, completely agree. And Dirk Cutter's, this is a big season for him as well. Just seeing how he improves as far as his overall game, as far as, calling plays, game situations, game management. Those are areas that he has to improve on, because last year he struggled with it. At times, it's just finding consistency in his play calling, being more balanced in the ground game and in the passing game as well. So, yeah, I mean, I think Quan Alexander is the easy choice for me. I just think he's going to have a big, huge year. I could easily see him be in contention for Defensive Player of the Year. So that would be my guy.
Yeah. I guess for me, I don't see a problem. Quan would be that guy, maybe a Levante David, maybe. Again, I think that he's going to quietly have a good season as well. Considering everybody's trying to be down on him, he didn't have a bad season, but everybody says he did. And I thought he had a decent season. consider a new defensive coordinator and all. But it's going to be hard to tell. These guys have something special right now that they have the same system. They're coming back to the same scheme so they can hit the ground running, as Quan mentioned in his press conference. So let's see. I'm going to go through this. I think that's pretty much it. Oh, Lord Roy said, do you think Grimes will come back to the team after this year? I kind of doubt it. I follow Miko and, just listening to the way she talks. And I really don't. I think this is his last year here. I would be very surprised if he came back. I think that they are looking to get another cornerback in the draft. I think that you'll see that probably first or second round. Depending on what's available, I think that's the direction that they're going to go. I think that will have given Vernon Hargraves a chance to get his feet under him in this system, and I think that that would be an ideal time to draft another cornerback.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree with that. I think just the way they're grooming Ryan Smith to take over that spot, I think it really depends on how his development goes. But I would expect him to draft a cornerback next year. As far as Brent Grimes, I think, it's tough. I mean, the guy's had an outstanding career. I could see it. I wouldn't rule it out in them signing him back. I guess it just depends on how the year goes. But yeah, I think this probably is his last year. I know he's been hinting at retirement. So
yeah. I'm again, and I'll say this again. Last time I'm going to say it. I wish Tampa would have brought him in when he left Atlanta instead of letting him get over to Miami. But water under the bridge. So that's pretty much it. And guys, next week we will actually be talking about what happened with football. Stay tuned because Michael Pless will be at camp taking notes. We'll get to hear some of the stories and some of the things that are going on at realbuckstalk.com. Please, if you haven't gone there, please go to realbuckstalk.com and check out some of the content there. I think you'll be, pleasantly surprised. There's a lot of different sites out there, but I think you really need to give Real Bucks Talk a chance. I think it's a great site and great content. So, Michael, tell everybody how they can get a hold of you, and we will wrap this up.
Yeah, follow us at Real Bucks Talk. You can catch us at realbuckstalk.com. We have, we're starting to put up the Buck What You Heard podcast on the site now, so we have that up there. So if you missed this, you can catch it up on our site. So we got that going. But yeah, like Gene said, we're just putting out new content. We try to put out new content every day. And again, it's original content that we try to be unique with and something that no one's really talking about. So, but yeah, I'm excited for camp on Sunday. I can't wait to go. I might go Saturday. I'm not sure yet. But yeah, it's going to be fun. Finally, interacting with fans. So if you're out there Sunday, I'll have my Real Bucks Talk shirt on. You can ask any questions you have, or just say hi, or go Bucks, and let's kick some ass this year.
Yeah, most definitely. And guys, I will be at the Chicago Bears game. You can find me at the What the Buck tailgate, hanging out with those guys. Always a lot of fun. And you will, if you see me, say what's up. If you recognize me, I should have some Buck What You Heard t-shirts. And just let me know. Just say hi or whatever. I'll watch the show and I'll try to hook you guys up. But anyway, thanks everybody for checking us out, and look forward to talking and seeing everybody commenting in the chat next week. We'll have some content actually, and we're getting that much closer to the regular season. So, everybody get excited and get ready, because here we are. And that's pretty much it for me. And just remember, Buck What You Heard. Thank you.